That's a great explanation. That's college education at its finest right there.
All right, so as you can tell, we are going to roll right from Carl into another area native here. Joining us once again in the Kansas Speedway press conference room is Clint Bowyer, driver of the number 15 5-hour Energy Toyota for Michael Waltrip Racing. Clint, first things first, you got out here, you took some batting practice with the Royals earlier this season. Big weekend for them. You think you showed enough in the cage that maybe Ned Yost will give you a call in a tough spot this weekend?
No, absolutely not. No, it's a hell of a lot harder than it looks, to be honest with you. But the guy was actually lobbing the balls to me too, and it was still pretty good. But big weekend for everybody, all of us Kansans, everybody in the Kansas City area. This is such a neat weekend to see all this going down. There's a lot of big events, you know, and obviously, selfishly, we pride ourselves in being one of the biggest here at Kansas Speedway and bringing this to town. For me, you know, having all of my fellow racers, all the crew guys, everybody looks forward to coming to Kansas. And you know, it's so funny to hear him say that because my whole life, everybody's been like, you live in Kansas? What? Now, you know, everybody looks forward to coming to this racetrack, the area. Everything has happened because of this speedway. And then now, you know, adding the Royals to the list and all the hype and the excitement that's surrounding this city is pretty cool to see.
All right, well, assuming that call isn't going to come from Ned, we'll just go ahead and open it up to the room. I think these guys will have some questions about racing this week.
You know, I didn't have tickets, and he did text me, and now I have really good tickets. So
seats near the dugout, just as good as seats in it. We'll start right here with Bob and then hit Jared and Todd.
Bob Pockris, ESPN. How often do you text with Ned? And I mean, what kinds of things do you tell him, and what kinds of things does he tell you?
Well, he's just such a big race fan. I mean, I remember game one last year. I came in, and you know, he brought me in, and you know, you don't. This is what you do in professional sports. You feel guilty, you know. I want to come in and for me, I want to take it all in. I want to go out and tailgate and do all that. But it's such an honor to get in and see everybody. But as well, you know when you're in your element and you're doing what you're doing, you don't want to bother anybody, you know. So as soon as they invite you to the clubhouse and once they introduce you and take you around and throws everybody out of his office 20 minutes before the game and you know, sits you down, he's like, all right, now level with me. Who's good this weekend? I mean, they had their NASCAR fantasy going on, you know, and all the coaches are in on it, and he wanted to get the inside scoop, you know. And I mean, this is literally 20 minutes before game one last year, so just a really, really neat guy to see. You know, when it's in an extreme element like that, he's still just super calm and collected, and like you see him on TV. You see all those managers, and all those guys, they're sitting there and they act so calm. You know they're freaking out. You know, I know that they've chewed at least 5 cans of chew, you know, during that game. I mean, it's just amazing to see how they're all, you know, so calm and collected, and all the while they're coaching these guys at one of the biggest games ever.
All right, we'll stay here to the left with Jared and then go to Todd with the star.
Yeah, Jared Turner, FoxSports.com. Clint. Carl was just in here, and I was asking him about how much he wanted to win here at Kansas. And he said there wasn't a single possession of his that he would not give up to win at this track. Are you...
He has 2 really cute kids.
I don't think he was included in that. Are you kind of in the same boat? Is there any...
Not giving up my kid.
Right. But in terms of possessions, is there anything that you wouldn't trade for?
I will leave the car that I don't own here. I will leave it here if I won. Literally get out of it, hand the trophy over to me, and you can have everything.
Okay.
It's soon to be gone anyway.
All right, we'll go here to Todd.
Hey, Clint, Todd Palmer, Kansas City Star. Haven't got to talk to you since the Harry Scott, Tony Stewart announcement. Just, I know this had to be a tough year, you know, not kind of knowing what your future was going to be like, and obviously not happy to be eliminated from the chase and things like that. But can you finally take a breath now and kind of relax now that your future's settled?
Yeah, it's just extremely hard. It's a tough situation to be in. You know, I'm extremely excited about next year and the following years. A lot of bright future ahead, right? But there's still some racing to be done, and it's hard because it's starting to wind down. You're starting to realize that you're seeing it, and our results are showing, and we're not performing. Definitely not performing the way I want to perform, and I feel like I'm capable of performing. So that's the hard part, but that's the reality of the situation, and you knew that going into it, and it's just part of it. But the good news is we're almost done. See, hey, good job. All right.
And I know you've got a year to get ready for it, but is it starting to sink in that you're going to be replacing kind of a legend in 2017?
Yes, and he just means so much to me as a race car driver, my upbringing, everything, my background and everything. He's a big part of that. When I was racing at Lakeside, running my modifieds, my late models that race at Eldora, he's just a big part of my racing away from what you see on Sundays. So to be able to be even affiliated with Tony Stewart, let alone driving, and being, the person that's going to take over his seat is just it's an awesome situation, a dream come true, and something that we've been trying to put together for a lot of years. To be honest with you, I've been trying to get there and get in that situation for several years, and contracts and everything else just never aligned with one another. And finally, I said, well, by golly, I'm going to take a gamble here and figure it out, and come hell or high water, I'm going to be in that seat when it's available.
All right, we'll go over to the right to Lewis and then back to Pete.
Louis Franco, Reuters. Carl was explaining Venturi's when you walked in. And,
yes.
What would you...
Mine didn't feel Venturious in my practice.
Okay. Is there anything you would like to see in next year's cars that you, aside from yourself, that haven't been announced yet?
I think they're on the right path. I've definitely, we're all behind this 100%. This was the drivers, leading this charge. These were our ideas. These are what we felt in the car, and I think that's important. I'm happy and proud that NASCAR listened. They tried, several different options and different ways for themselves, and I'm glad they did that. You know what I mean? It was wise to do that. We went to Indy, we went to Michigan, and gave it an honest attempt, and it just didn't work. But that was healthy because it definitely pointed us back in the right direction with the lower downforce, and I think that's going to be a good thing. I don't know if it's going to be enough yet. That's going to be the thing. Only time will tell. The engineering side of this and the evolution of any sports anymore is just unbelievable, and it's hard to outrun that. You know what I mean? You can't unlearn. Once you've learned all these things, you can't take that back. And the Venturis and the side four, I didn't know that my race car actually looked like this, but that was his demonstration that I was a witness of as well. So Ryan just doesn't want him to go backwards. Every meeting I've ever been in my life with Ryan Newman, he is very worried that they're going to not do good going backwards. I said, we go forward, Ryan. Why? We don't race these things in reverse. Yes.
All right, we'll go to Pete.
Pete Pistone, MRN.com, and SiriusXM NASCAR Radio. Carl was also talking about his fan base, how important they are to him. Do you feed off that energy? Is that something tangible that you take, Clint, from your fan base and help you as a driver?
Well, of course you do. I mean, that's something you take a lot of pride in, something you never had. You know what I mean? That's something you acquire over time, and then when you become part of such a big sport like this and racing under the NASCAR label and competing in the Cup Series, obviously it amplifies even more. But I remember Lakeside Speedway. It's that was what was cool about Lakeside. Back home, of all the weekly racing tracks and everything, the races got over in time, not 1 or 2 in the morning like half of them across the country. They were over by 10 o'clock or so, and everybody out of the pits didn't just rush home. They came down to the pits, they met the drivers, they got their autographs, and then they went home. And I remember that. That's where my fan base got established, is just down the road right here. And definitely see them all the time. All those same people that were in the lines back then are the same people that are in the lines when you come over here, and that's what a fan's all about.
All right, back up to Bob.
I don't want to get you in trouble if you're going in the clubhouse.
Great, Bob, but you're going to anyway?
Yeah, well, I want to know what you were thinking at the end of the 7th inning on Monday night. Did you do anything to try to bring your team good luck?
This is actually funny. I had to go to Las Vegas, and we were flying, and the plane had Wi-Fi on it, which is pretty cool. But once you get down like below 20,000 feet or so, Wi-Fi quits working, and we'd been watching, and it's in and out of streaming, and you could see it, and you could just tell, man, we were beat, right? The guys were down. They had long looks on their faces that I didn't like what I saw, and I'm bummed out. We go down and lose Wi-Fi, and we land actually at the airport and dropped my old man off and got fuel, and we went on. Well, I walk into the FBO, and I'm all bummed out, kicking rocks across the parking lot, and I walk in, this place has erupted. I'm like, what are you guys watching? And I turned around, and not only were we not down, 2-6, we were actually up 1, and that was awesome. We sat in the FBO till it was over. Late getting to Las Vegas and the hangover.
All right, go over to Matt.
Going bird hunting, boys. Huh? Yes. It will be awesome. Sorry, you're in Kansas City. It's awesome.
Matt Weaver, AutoWeek.com. Clint, what is the balance between tires that fall off in regards to next year, tires that fall off and then tires that eventually fail, and what do you want to see Goodyear present to teams next year?
Well, I mean, that's a great question. I think that's the biggest part of what we have going on moving forward. These cars, they're a part of that, but the tires can easily persuade that car in any direction, pretty much any given point when we change these tires and do things. So, I think it's going to be important that Goodyear, we help Goodyear. As an industry, needs to help them. We can't just lean on them, and then if and when they were to stub their toe or something, point fingers and say it was their fault. It's not fair. We all owe it to one another to help each other and figure out what's going to work. And I think that meeting that we had in New Hampshire is a good step in that direction. They're not going to land on a perfect tire right off the bat. That's something that's going to take work. We're going to have to learn. But one thing I would like to do is get it back simplified a little bit more. In my opinion, selfishly, I think we have too many tires, too many tire configurations. If it takes this many special tires for this track, special tires for that track, I don't buy that. I think I race all across the country on dirt tires, and they don't have special tires, special tracks.
All right, Clint, best of luck to you and your Royals this weekend.
That would be awesome.
Coming in and
Thank
seeing
you.
us.
Throw him out.
Yeah.